Quais ajustes macroeconômicos seriam necessários para o Brasil retomar uma política de crescimento sustentável? Para o economista indiano Deepak Nayyar, o país precisa reorientar suas políticas para que elas se tornem anticíclicas. Em visita ao Brasil, o professor da Universidade de Nova Delhi e autor do livro A Corrida pelo Crescimento, País em Desenvolvimento na Economia Mundial, avalia a situação da economia brasileira frente aos demais países do BRIC.
I think that Brazil needs to do the following. First, it needs to reorient its macroeconomic policies to become counter-cyclical, so that when growth is slowing down, macroeconomic policies should be expansionary, rather than to make it pro-cyclical. Use, or at least recognize, that both the exchange rate and the interest rate are prices that shape investment decisions and production decisions in the economy. Now, if exchange rates and interest rates are kept high simply to ensure confidence and profitability for foreign capital inflows to finance current account deficits, its consequences in terms of outcomes in the domestic economy are undesirable in the short run. In a medium-term perspective, I think Brazil must do, as indeed India must do even more, to find the resources to invest in infrastructure and to find the resources to invest in education and in healthcare for its people. Now, we should have no illusions on this score. The one thing we learn from history is that there is no country that has created an infrastructure through private investment, whether domestic or foreign. It has always come from the government in some way or the other. The third suggestion I would have is that Brazil must begin to think of strategic or proactive or conducive trade policies, industrial policies, and technology policies that will promote manufacturing in Brazil. In part because it would provide employment, which beyond a point agriculture cannot, or when the services sector does, it provides it at very low levels of income. And in part because it will create the potential for productivity increase as a source of growth, not only within the sector, but across sectors.
Mas para isso, o professor ressalta que é preciso não abandonar o modelo atual, baseado no emprego e no consumo.
If we consider the experience of the past 30 years in industrialized countries and in emerging economies, what we have seen is the phenomenon of jobless growth. That rates of growth of GDP have been impressive, but rates of growth of employment have been disappointing. Now, this is neither accident nor coincidence, because it has been an outcome of the economic policies that have been associated with this age of markets and globalization. In my view, the belief that there is a trade-off between growth and employment is false, is wrong. I think that growth can create jobs and jobs can create growth. Now, this is a part of the story but cannot be the whole story. You see, orthodox economics looks only at the supply side, about how to raise productivity of labor and bring about economic growth. Okay, but it forgets that there is a demand side, so that wages are indeed costs on the supply side, but wages are also incomes on the demand side. Think of a situation about how growth might create jobs. If the rate of growth of output is greater than the rate of growth of employment. After all, what is it? The rate of growth of output is the rate of growth of employment plus the rate of growth of productivity.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if you get zero employment growth and all growth is driven by productivity, then all you're getting is growth on the supply side. But there's no demand being created through employment.
Por isso, uma reforma com foco em um crescimento sustentável terá que olhar para o emprego e ajustar o investimento.
There is a need for a balance, and there are three propositions. First, please do not look on the supply side alone, consider the demand side as well. Second, in considering the demand side, please make a distinction between wage-led growth and profit-led growth. If employment creates wage incomes that stimulate consumption demand, it can be a source of growth on the demand side. But we cannot forget that there could also be an expansion in demand in terms of investment. And profit-led growth creates investment demand. And there is a complementarity between the two. If there is no wage-led growth and there's only profit-led growth, the feedback from the demand side is very weak and it cannot sustain. If there's only wage-led growth and no profit-led growth, the feedback from the supply side is too little. So you need to strike a balance between wage-led growth and profit-led growth.
And why do you think Brazil is failing on this balance when you see we're not growing our investment?
But the reason is that interest rates are too high. The reason is that investment levels are low and manufacturing firms are not investing. All right. Now, firms work on a cost-benefit calculus. They will invest if they expect a profit that is higher than the interest rates on their borrowing. You need to strike a balance between wage-led growth and profit-led growth. Okay. Just as you need to create a balance between the supply side and the demand side. So the first balance is do not focus on the supply side alone, consider the demand side as well. The second is strike a balance on the demand side between wage-led growth and investment-led growth. Now, the third balance you need to strike is in terms of income distribution. All right? If incomes are being redistributed from wages to profits, then there will be no wage-led growth. But if incomes are being redistributed from wages to profits, if all these profits are in the real sector of the economy, then it will drive growth through profits. The worst outcomes happen when there's a redistribution of incomes away from wages in favor of profits, which weakens wage-led growth. But at the same time, there's a redistribution of profits away from the real sector of the economy, whether manufacturing or services, in favor of the financial sector of the economy. Now, the financial sector dampens profit-led growth because the only demand it creates is for financial assets and not for investment.